Hola comunidad de Roastbrief, seguimos aquí en los Effies 2023 y nos encontramos en este momento con Mark Ritson, quien es Marketing Specialist, Writer and Professor. Esta entrevista va a ser en inglés, así que prepárense. Mark, before we start with the interview, we want to give you a big thank you for accepting, and we are very excited to be here in the Effie Awards México 2023, and we would like you to start with who are you? Who's Mark Ritson? What does Mark is doing here, you know?
So I am a former marketing professor, Leo. I'm an English guy, but based in Australia now, worked in America and other places. And I taught brand management at London Business School, at MIT for many years. I worked for lots of big companies. And I've always been a big supporter of the Effies. I think this is the great night for Mexican marketing and advertising. Okay. And it's an honor to be here. You know, the Effies are, for me, the biggest award you can receive. So to be part of it is a wonderful honor for me too.
You said something interesting that I want to go ahead with that. It's Mexican marketing. So you think there's a difference in the marketing world with Mexico?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think we're in a good place with Mexico. Now it's hard for me on the outside, but I tell you, we see a couple of things particularly with Mexico in Latin and South America. I think what we see is brands that are, I think, doing a decent job. I think the quality of the questions I had today from the CEOs, very high level. They know their stuff. And we're seeing more and more Mexican marketers turning up at global companies in senior roles and doing a good job. So I think Mexico, the world is getting better at marketing. It's becoming more democratic. But I really think that, judging from today and from what I've seen before, we have a good marketing culture and I think a healthy marketing approach.
Okay. It's interesting because you like mark the differences, with marketing in general and Mexican marketing. And I think this is with like every place in the world. It's not the same thing to do marketing in the UK, like in Australia, like in the US, like in Mexico, like And it's very interesting. I didn't expect you to say that.
No, but I think it's important, Leo, because marketing is all about consumers, so it has to be ground up. Okay. We have to respect the diversity because it's ground up.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just, in the past, I think, in the old days, Mexico was getting second-hand campaigns from global companies.
Yeah.
I think we now realize that the Mexicans can handle their own market, and it's such a big market. It's attractive now. The one thing I would say, it would be nice to see more Mexican brands run by Mexican marketers. And what I mean by that is, I think maybe Mexicans don't realize how attractive the Mexican culture is, the food, the wine, the lifestyle. We like Mexican things globally, but it tends to be sold to us by fake Mexican companies around the world. We have a couple of Mexican restaurants in Australia. They're good, but they're run by Australians, and I'd like to see more authentic Mexican approach, That would be the next step.
Yeah, like to Mexicans to approach this industry and to take care about their, not just their industry, their campaigns, the things that they are sharing with the clients and with the people and that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I came here for the first time to Mexico in 20 years. Okay. The first thing I wanted to do was have real Mexican food and real Mexican drinks.
And did you like it?
I loved it, but I drink my tequila, I drink Mexican beer, I eat a lot of Mexican food. But yesterday was the first chance to see what it's really like, not presented to me in a bit of a fake taco kind of way,
Yeah.
And I love that, and I think the world is hungry for that. Genuine, authentic Mexican brands that come from Mexico, that aren't being sold to us by Americans or Europeans. That would be great.
What kind of taco did you eat?
So I had a prime rib taco, and it was fantastic, but it didn't taste like anything I've ever had. I had very good Centenario tequila, but it was served to me out of the freezer, which I've never had before. And I'm texting my friends back home because they want to know, what does a Mexican menu in a real Mexican restaurant look like? We don't know. We all know about the food and the words, but we want to see what it's like in a Mexican way, a real Mexican way. So I think there's an opportunity there for the future.
you need to taste Mexican tacos, but from the street.
Yeah.
It will blow your mind,
That's
you know?
my next step. I think getting some street food tomorrow is my next destination.
Okay. Mark, what do you consider to be the most underestimated yet crucial factor in the achieving effectiveness in an advertising campaign? You know, like based on your global experience.
I would say there's a couple of things. The first thing is, unfortunately, you have to invest money.
Okay.
It's a myth that somehow small brands without any advertising spend can really become big brands. It happens once in 1,000 times, but you have to invest a little bit of money. Second, you need creative. You know, it's not just about having TikTok. What is the ad on TikTok that you have, or who are you using? We don't talk about that enough. We talk about, I have a TikTok ad. Great. Is it good or not good? How good is the creativity is important. And I'd say the last thing that's super important, before we get to the ad, the companies, the marketers must brief their agencies very well. Your name, Roastbrief, is very good. Because we need good briefs. Because if the client doesn't explain to the agency what they want, the campaign never works properly. And we find most clients, they're not clear, they don't have a strategy, and that means bad work at the end.
Would you add another thing, not just like good briefing, having money, and just like having an idea? It's like, you know, it has to have like a protocol. Yes or no?
Yeah, look, I think that there's a certain formula that makes things work, but if we stick to it too much, it all becomes the same. So I think the only protocol we should say is you have to spend enough money, you have to be creative, and you have to make the ad look like you. But we need to let creative people be creative and not be too formulaic about the work.
And to close a little bit this interview, what would you say it's the effectiveness or what elements are with this effectiveness for success in a campaign?
Look, for me, I always look for a couple of things. I look for investing the right amount of money. I look for spreading the money across lots of channels. It's not about, are we doing YouTube, are we doing radio? It's about blending them together. And then finally, I'm really looking for a campaign that understands who it's targeting, what's its message, what's its objective. You'd be surprised how much money is being spent and the campaign is not clear on these important questions. Get those questions answered first, then design your advertising. Strategy, then advertising. It's very important point.
Thank you very much, Mark, for this interview. We're very excited to have you here in the Effie Awards México 2023, and I think your experience talks for you, you know?
And I have to say also, you look fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Pues comunidad de Roastbrief, estamos aquí con Mark Ritson, recordando que es Marketing Specialist, Writer and Professor y que tiene que probar los tacos de suadero. Muchas gracias, Mark.
Muchas gracias.